Welcome to a video on how to get good at fire and ice characters, perhaps the two most notoriously annoying elements in the game. Players who are able to master the art of learning when fire damage can carry them and when you can leave enemies to freeze to death can expect more hate mail than a Twitter user expressing their opinion on chocolate. Let's get started. Starting with fire characters first. Fire is the most common elemental trait in the game, so rather than showing all the classes that have a fire variant, here are the classes that do not have one. The barbecue tree man, despite having fire in two of his abilities, does not qualify as a fire variant, though we will come back to him later. Most fire variants typically follow the formula of sacrificing a bit of their direct damage output in exchange for fire damage over time, though there are some exceptions to the rule. This is either due to their weapon having either a statistic that's higher than the base variant, or because the weapon used functions completely different from the normal one. Regardless, all of them share the same functionality in setting their victim on fire for the next 3.75 seconds, during which they take damage at a rate of 4 every 0.75 seconds for a total of 20 damage over the effect's duration. This is the standard format for fire damage in most cases. However, the duration and damage per tick interval actually changes in two separate instances, those two instances being the Drake Max Primary and Blazing Blast. In these separate cases, the duration is only 3 seconds, though each tick interval deals 5 damage instead of 4. This still amounts to a total of 20, just in a shorter time span. The fire damage over time is actually very powerful as a source of chip damage, since all you need is to land a single hit on the target in order to apply the fire damage. It can also be used as like an X-ray effect, getting a rough idea as to where your opponent will be going for the next few seconds. Fire damage is best used against characters that have little health, such as roses or imps. The fire effect, however, can be extinguished early, as well as not applicable to anyone under the effects of a heal beam or heal station. Fire damage is not effective against classes such as sunflowers and scientists, which can self-heal with their own abilities, and Chomp Thing, which can easily just shake it off. Due to his immense health regeneration, it is highly suggested to not run a fire character if the enemy team has plenty of active healing sources, for you'll just end up sacrificing a substantial portion of your damage output for nothing, and will look like an absolute fucking idiot. Now on to ice characters. This is the next most common element in the game, tied with power, with a total of 8 playable ice variants. This is also where we see a trend of imbalance, for whilst there are 5 ice plants, there are only 3 ice zombies, making it more likely for the element to be present on the plants than on zombies. Like the fire element, most variants tend to follow the same formula in sacrificing a portion of their direct damage output for the ice effect. The ice effect comes in 2 stages, the chilling stage and the frozen stage. The chilling stage is when you initially begin attacking them. Each attack fills up a certain meter that normally isn't visible to the player, so I'll show a rough visual representation of the meter to the left side of the screen. This meter starts at 0 and is partially filled every time you attack someone. The first shot you apply as an ice character is also higher if the meter is completely empty for your victim. Let's take the Ice P for example. If your victim has yet to have been chilled and you hit them directly because the meter is at 0, the first shot freeze rate is applied, adding 0.45 to the meter. The meter decays at a rate of 0.05 per second. Now, if we shoot them again, because the meter is not at 0, it instead applies the usual amount of 0.3. How full the meter is also affects the speed penalty that is applied to the enemy. The speed penalty can increase up to a maximum of 40%, and with the slow decay rate, enemies will be restricted in mobility for quite some time. Once the meter reaches the value of 1, however, the victim will be completely frozen for the next 2.1 seconds, where they cannot move, cannot turn, and cannot use their abilities, effectively making them a sitting duck. This is often how kills are scored with ice variants, especially with the faster freezing ones like Arctic Trooper and Frozen Citron. But of course, like the fire element, if the victim is under the effects of any heal beam or heal station, then the effect will be removed and they cannot be chilled whilst actively being healed by the aforementioned sources. So much like fire, it's not suggested to run any ice character against a team with plenty of healing resources, as you'll share the same levels of uselessness as a Curse of Vanishing book from Minecraft. Thanks to this guide, you will now be the master of exploiting damage over time and getting hate mail for playing ice characters. Be sure to come back for the next episode next week. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more shit like this. Have fun.